Welcome back to Trip of Change, the Jackie Robinson Show podcast. Trip of Change is a weekly podcast hosted by Jackie Robinson and produced by Dana Bach, with some of the top thought leaders in the areas of LGBTQIA+, use of pronouns, gender identity, voting rights, intergenerational conversations, news, and feature interviews with industry leaders. Our goal is to provide listeners with key takeaways and actionable advice for having a better understanding of the people we interact with around the world. Let's start the show. Hey girl, hey!
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Okay, give me just a quick second.
Okay. Hope she's getting something good.
Okay, hey.
Hey,
How are
hey.
you? How was your day? You know you froze. Hey, Dana. You froze. I'm going to go ahead on with the show and talk about Trip of Change, a podcast hosted by Jackie Robinson, that's me, and the show producer and co-host, which is Miss Bach, Dana Bach, and we'll get her back on in a minute. But again, welcome to anyone and everyone who is listening today for our this is episode season 2, episode 5, I believe it is. Yes. And we are celebrating National Women's History Month. That is the topic for the month of March. And we're going to be featuring today, we're going to be talking about Black women, historical Black women in politics, leading up to our feature for today, which is Kamala Harris. Yes, we're going to be talking about Miss Harris today. There's Miss Bach. Are you back? I don't see you. I can't see you. I can't see you. Gonna have to work on that. But we roll the tape. And so the first thing we need to do is some administrative stuff. And so we're gonna show you our disclaimer. And the disclaimer simply is that any video that we show you contains some sensitive information. The sole purpose behind making this podcast video is to spread love and information. We hope it will increase your knowledge and understanding about the LGBTQIA plus community. But today's episode is more or less dealing with historical Black women in politics. Now, the video content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. Trip of Change does not make any representation or warranties with respect to the accuracy, applicability, fitness, or completeness of the video content. Trip of Change does not warrant the performance, effectiveness, or applicability of any sites listed or linked to in any of the video content. Trip of Change hereby disclaims any and all liability to any party for any indirect, implied, punitive, special, incidental, or other consequential damages arising directly or indirectly from any use of the video content, which is provided as is and without warranties. And we encourage you to go out to tripperchange.com. We're on Instagram at tripperchange. We're on Facebook at tripperchange. And if you have an idea or want to be a guest on the show, be sure to email producer.dana@tripofchange.com. All right. So that takes care of the administrative portion of the broadcast. And let me see. Give me a second here. Okay. Okay, Miss Dana. Oh, there you are. Okay, let me get you back. Are you there? You froze. You keep freezing.
On.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I see movement.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Yes,
free.
I can hear
Floors.
you.
Not gonna move. Okay, good. It's really stormy here today. So on stormy days, our Wi-Fi is not so good. So
well, that's what happens when you have a big, fabulous mansion up in the hills, surrounded by trees, out there in Portland, almost close to Mount Hood.
right, exactly. Up here
That's
in the mountains.
right. That yeah,
Yes.
up in the mountains. Yeah, but now
Well,
you
I
look
am
good, girl.
happy to be here. Thank you for waiting for me. Yes.
You're welcome. The lighting
I have
looks
a
good.
drink is hot.
Okay, I have to be real careful. You know what happens.
I do. I love Wednesday afternoons. That's what
Yes,
half the fun is.
yes. So I've
Yes.
already done the disclaimer. Okay. And so now I want to do this. We're going to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor for our Tripper Change podcast with Jackie Robinson is healthfulessence.com. And they are a vegan, actually a Caribbean, soulful vegan vegetarian restaurant here in Atlanta in the West End. And they offer discounts when you order online with an app called Clover. And so Mama Princess and Chef Quadro over there at Healthful Essence would be glad to hear from you and stop by their restaurant for some soulful. You, as a matter of fact, you can see they've got all of this is vegetarian food, but it's got a Caribbean and soulful flair. And I want to give a shout out to my brother, who is the raw chef at the restaurant. It was his birthday on Monday, and so we took a trip, a change to the Georgia Aquarium. We had never ever been to the Georgia Aquarium here in Atlanta, and it was fabulous. I spent 4 hours at the aquarium, okay, doing all kinds of viewing of the different animals and the different species of plants and whatnot, and coral. So it was an amazing trip. And then we went out to dinner to a vegan restaurant that he wanted to try. So again, our sponsor is Healthful Essence. You can check them out at healthfulessence.com and get a discount when you order food using the Clover app. Thank you, Healthful Essence.
And also, we should say that you can buy their cookbooks. So even if you're not in the greater Atlanta area, you can go online and order their cookbooks.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, Miss Princess has 2 cookbooks that, and Dana, when I was at the country club, I had a copy of her book in my office, and one of the chefs wanted to take a look at it and see if he could duplicate some of her items in that cookbook. So yeah, and also they have a following that is international. They have people that come from all around the world to their restaurant. So thank you again, Healthful Essence, and thank you, Dana, for that reminder about Miss Princess's cookbook.
Yes, I know what my dad's getting for Father's Day for sure.
Oh,
right?
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah,
exactly.
In it. Yeah, put a little soul in it.
That's right. That's right.
Uh-huh. So again, we encourage you to go out to our website. Here it is right here. Support us at triplechange.com. We've got a Cash App where we accept donations that we would use for a nonprofit organization. We're on Instagram at Trip of Change. YouTube, go out and subscribe to our Trip of Change YouTube channel. We'd like to see you there. Okay. And again, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about how was your day?
It was good. It was busy. Yes. Very, very busy. I want to talk about why we're wearing brown.
Yes. Talk about why we wearing brown today.
Yes. Well, am I going to lead that?
Well, let's do this first. Let's talk about the National History, Women's History Month. And then I'm going to touch on some historical Black women in politics, okay? And then we'll round it off with our feature for today, which is Kamala Harris. And then we'll explain to you why we're wearing brown and something that we want you all to do as well. So let's get into National History Month. Okay. Now, during the month of March, we give a little extra attention to all of the amazing accomplishments of strong, determined women. Since 1987, the United States has formally recognized March as National History Month. Now, Women's History Month celebrates the often overlooked contributions of women in history, society, and culture. It has been annually observed in the United States and other countries, including the United Kingdom and Australia. The month-long commemoration started with Women's History Day in 1978, organized by the school district of Sonoma, California. Hundreds of students participated in the essay competitions. Many presentations were given, and even a parade was held in Santa Rosa. Isn't that where they have the Rose Parade?
I think that's Pasadena.
Oh, Pasadena. Okay.
Yeah. Down south.
I'm sorry, baby.
I think down Southern California.
It's down in Southern California.
Almost Northern California. Yeah. So yeah, Northern California.
Okay. The idea caught on, and a few years later, school districts, communities, organizations, in other words, it blew up all over the United States. And March 8th was designated as National Women's History Week. And then Congress forwarded a solution establishing a national observance. Okay. And so on this particular website, which is nationaltoday.com, you can go out to this website and you'll see they have how it started. 1920, women win the right to vote. 1981, a woman's place is in the court, where Sandra Day O'Connor is the first woman appointed to the United States Supreme Court. 1983, women go to infinity and beyond, where Sally Ride became the first woman in space. Woohoo! And then 2016, I'm with her. I think that was a hashtag, I'm with her, where Hillary Rodham Clinton is the first woman to be nominated for president by a major political party. And so on this page, it talks about why do we celebrate History Month, who is the founder of Women's History, which was the American nonprofit organization, National Women's History Alliance. And then they also offer different ways that you can observe for the rest of the month, because today is just March the 2nd.
Right.
Put something in writing, have a girls' lunch, read up on women's history. And here are 5 powerful facts about women. Oh, this should be interesting, Dana. Women have always been present. Women have always been present in the military, temporarily and voluntarily. Army Nurses Corps was created in 1901. 1900, married women were allowed to own property. Oh my goodness. In their own name and keep their own money.
Yes.
1900s. Okay. The first college to accept women was Salem College, founded in 1772. And Who Runs the World? I think that was a song by Beyonce.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yeah, that was a song by Beyonce. Who Runs the World? So listen, more than 30% of all businesses today are owned and run by women. Right. So that is the National Women's History Month. History
I have to say one little tidbit. I'm from Salem, Oregon, and I never knew that Salem University was one of the first institutions to allow women to attend to get a higher education. So I'm learning something today.
1772. So, girl, you want a triple change?
Exactly.
Right. And that's what this podcast is about, a trip of change. And as we say, it's not always physical. It could be a mental trip of change. Yes. So there's all kinds of things that go on in Oregon, in your state, that could be historical. Up there. Then you have who was the female assemblywoman? She was a representative. What was her name? In Portland, in PDX.
Did we meet her together?
I don't think so, but I know as part of some of the work that I was doing with the city of Portland, there I got a chance to meet her. She was
Smith, possibly Loretta Smith.
I don't know. She was from the north side, right? On the other side of the bridge.
Yes.
No, that was the black woman, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think this was a white woman that she was a political powerhouse there in Portland. Well,
we'll look it up.
We'll look it up later on. But where we're going to go now is I want to talk about Black women in political history, the history of some of these women in politics. And so I'm going to start over here. We've got these two. Do you recognize any of these women?
Yes, I know the woman I'm just forgetting her name. The woman on the left was very much involved in the women's movement with Gloria Steinem.
On the left is Shirley Anita Chisholm.
Yes, that's who she is. Yes.
Born in 1924 to January 1, 2005, she was an American politician, an educator, and author. In 1968, she became the first Black woman elected to the United States Congress. In 1972, she became the first Black candidate for a major party nomination for President of the United States. And the first woman to run for the Democratic Party's nomination. Born in Brooklyn, New York, she spent a critical portion of her childhood in Barbados. Who else we know from Barbados? That would be Rihanna.
I'm getting a pop quiz today.
Pop quiz today. Okay.
Got to practice it.
Okay, we'll drink to that.
Yes.
Okay. That's where her family was from. And so she considered herself a Barbadian American. Back in the United States, Miss Chisholm studied and worked in early childhood education, becoming involved in local Democratic Party politics in the 50s. And in 1964, overcoming some resistance because she was a woman, she was elected to the New York State Assembly. 4 years later, she was elected to Congress, where she led expansion of food and nutrition programs for the poor and rose to party leadership. And we celebrate Miss Chisholm because this woman had to really fight during her nomination, or her rise, or her desire to be nominated as the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. She caught all kind of hell, Dana, from men, all kinds of men, all the men. They just weren't ready for a woman at that time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And she didn't let anyone stop her. She just went ahead and did what she wanted to do. Kept
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. And then on the right is Barbara Jordan, born February the 21st, 1936, until January the 17th, 1996. Now, she was an American lawyer, educator, and politician who was a leader in the civil rights movement, a Democrat. She was the first African American elected to the Texas Senate after Reconstruction. And I heard that word Reconstruction. I had to say, what year again was she born in? 1936. Okay.
Yes.
And she was the first Southern African American woman elected to the United States House of Representatives. Jordan is known for her eloquent opening statement at the House Judiciary Committee hearings during the impeachment process of Richard Nixon. I don't know, maybe some of you young ones don't remember that, but I remember that. And that's one of the things that I remembered about her, is the eloquent way in which she spoke. It commanded your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In 1976, she became the first African American and the first woman to ever deliver a keynote address at a Democratic National Convention.
That's awesome. Yes.
Awesome. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, among numerous other honors, and she was the first African American woman, check this out, to be buried in the Texas State Cemetery.
Ooh.
Yes, interesting. All right. Now, I also remember this lady. This is Carolyn. On the left is Carol Elizabeth Mosley Braun.
Yes.
Okay. Also sometimes just referred to as Mosley Braun. Born August the 16th, 1947, she is a former U.S. Senator, an American diplomat, politician, and lawyer who represented Illinois in the United States from 1993 to 1999. Prior to her Senate tenure, Mosley Braun was a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. She was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1992 after defeating Senator Alan Dixon in a Democratic primary.
Yes, and I was on Capitol Hill during 92 to 94 when she was there. It was a very exciting time.
Oh, then you can relate. Then you can relate. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. She served one term in the Senate and was defeated by Republican Peter Fitzgerald in 1998. However, Mosley Braun was the first African American woman elected to the U.S. Senate, the first African American U.S. Senator from the Democratic Party, the first woman to defeat an incumbent U.S. Senator in an election, and the first female U.S. Senator from Illinois. That's a lot of firsts.
That's a lot of firsts.
That's a lot of firsts. And as I read her bio there, Dana, I got to thinking, again, this is the last of my 60s. Been on this planet, on walking the earth plane for about almost 69 years. And I've had some firsts. I've had In my career and in my lifetime, I've had some first. Okay, we'll get into that later when maybe we highlight Jackie Robinson later
We
on
will.
down the line.
It's coming. Yes.
You were you the first at your advertising agency to retire early?
No, by no means. No. I have to
Okay.
go back in history to see where I've had some firsts, but we'll share that later.
Okay.
Yes.
And the last person we want to highlight as a Black woman in politics is Stacey Yvonne Abrams. We're bringing
Yes.
it up to the current time. All right. Born December the 9th, 1973. She is an American politician, a lawyer, a voting rights activist, and author who served in the Georgia House of Representatives from 2007 to 2017, serving as minority leader for several years. A member of the Democratic Party, Abrams founded Fair Fight Action, an organization to address voter suppression. Check this out, Dana. In 2018, that's when they started the Fair Fight Action. But now look, a voting rights activist, her efforts have been widely credited with boosting voter turnout in Georgia, including the 2020 presidential election, where Joe Biden narrowly won Georgia. Okay.
Right.
And in or the U.S. Senate election and special election, which gave Democrats control over the Senate. Now,
Yes.
Abrams was the Democratic nominee in 2018's Georgia gubernatorial election, becoming the first African American female majority party gubernatorial nominee in the United States. She lost that election to a Republican, Brian Kemp, but she refused to concede. Why? Because she accused Kemp of engaging in voter suppression as the Georgia Secretary of State. In February 2019, Abrams became the first African American woman to deliver a response to the State of the Union address. Now, on December the 1st, just this last year, 2021, she announced she would run for governor again in the 2022 Georgia gubernatorial election. And Jackie Robinson, Triple Change, has volunteered to work with her campaign.
So great. I love it. I'm going to come out and we'll canvas together.
That would be fun, Dana.
Yes. Yes.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. We'll make it happen. Yep.
Yep. And I think, from reading about these women, a lot of firsts, okay?
Yes.
It takes a lot of courage and bravery to persevere and to continue when you have naysayers, or things may not look like it's going your way. But that's what it takes, not only to be a first, but to succeed, period. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. In politics, there's a pecking order often, and those in power decide like who should be running next, who should be the person to take those seats, or take a shot at that seat. And the leadership likes to be the one in control of that. And sometimes a lot of the stories you're telling of all these women, they're like, no, it's my time. I don't know if they had champions, but I would assume that they might have had some more people say, hey, maybe it's not your turn. And they decided that it was, and they made history. And that's really, really impactful.
Well, that was the case of Shirley Chisholm, because Jesse Jackson and some of the other religious leaders in the Black community did not feel like it was her time.
Right.
And so she's catching she's catching it from both ends. But again, when you are determined to do something and you have a goal in mind, nothing is going to stop you from continuing on your path, on your journey. You have ancestors who are praying for you and watching over you. You have those supporters that tell you to keep going, don't stop. Okay. And that's part of the trip of change. Okay. Because I could have retired and put all this internet stuff down because I've been doing it for a long time. But as a retiree, I've gotten to the point now where I'd be okay not doing it. But thanks to you, Dana, and our trip to Las Vegas, and you saying, you know what, girl, we ought to do this trip of change. We ought to do this trip of change. You're so good with people. We're picking up the banter again, and we're doing it again. We're out here, and we've got a good cause. The cause is, as you go and as you live, think about it. You experience a change, a mental change, a psychological change, a physical change, a relationship change, a spiritual change, just a food change, a weight change, a health change, a relationship change, all kind of changes going on.
Exactly.
And,
I always say that time and change are the two constants in our life, and that time moves forward with or without us. So change should be the same. We should be progressing with the change. And there's buildings that are torn down in the cities we live in that we're like, oh gosh, but then something else goes up, and that's just the evolution of change. Some of it you can see with your eyes, like architecture. Other things you have to really work on yourself, and that's what we're doing here.
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. And so we encourage you to support the show by signing up. Go out to tripofchange.com and register your email address. Also, we're on Instagram, trip of change, and definitely go out to our YouTube channel and subscribe and get your friends and family, everybody to subscribe so you can go back and watch these episodes. Okay. All right. Now, speaking of change, I want to get into our feature. Let me go back over here and then do this. 1, 2. Our feature.
Yes.
Okay. Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Now, how do we? Yeah, let's drink to that. Kamala Harris.
Cheers to that. Yes.
Cheers, Miss Kamala. Now, the subject of this particular episode changed. We were going to talk about, of course, we talked about National Women's History Month because that's what March is. And then we had a subtopic where we were going to discuss teens and health, mental health and wellness. But a couple of things happened recently that made us want to change our minds and select a different subject. Okay. And let me see if I can find it, Dana.
Yeah. What's great about this format is that we had a plan Monday, we fine-tuned it Tuesday, and then we scratched it Wednesday.
And yeah, isn't that something?
We're live now. So it's always a work in progress. And but what we're trying to do is learn from the day. And something came up that Jackie was very passionate about. I was very passionate about, that we wanted to research a little bit more and share with everybody.
Yes. So let me start with this. Let's see. It says, for the first time, 2 women are seated behind the president during a State of the Union address. Okay. There she is in a brown suit. and Nancy Pelosi in a blue suit. History was made at the U.S. Capitol on Tuesday. For the first time, two women were seated on the platform behind the president during the State of the Union address. Vice President Kamala Harris and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi sat behind Biden during his joint address to Congress last year. That was last year. And then this was this year. Okay. That was this year.
Yeah.
All right. So she's got her brown suit on, right? Then let's go over here. Let's see, where is it? And this is what got my pantyhose in a bunch. Okay, this right here. Let's see if I got it. All right. It says Kamala Harris State of the Union suit deemed a faux pas. Okay, that means, what does that mean in French? Something that you weren't supposed to do?
A no. Yes.
A no. Okay. Yeah. Let's put it in perspective. Some people say it was a no for her to wear a brown suit. So, and then what I find also interesting, Dana, is look at these women over here. Lauren Boebert and who's this other one?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes.
Yeah, Taylor Greene. Now, here you are at the State of the Union address with the President of the United States. You've got two women, the House Speaker and the Vice President, and you decide that you're going to break protocol and heckle the president during his speech. It just seemed wrong. It just seemed out of place for that to be happening. You know, it's Women's History Month. Here we are making history.
Yes.
Right. And then you got these two who are acting childish, who are acting like kindergartners. Okay. And this is what I find interesting about it too, Dana, is that when President Obama gave a State of the Union address, somebody hollered out on the Republican side, liar. Okay, I don't know if you remember that. Okay, but here's the thing. If there are no consequences, no serious consequences for you being disruptive, then that just opens it up for other people to come along and do the same thing. And in the case of President Obama, it was a man. And then in this case, it's two women. It just doesn't seem right.
Well, I think if you take it down to the core, what I always think about it this way, like, what do I want to teach my kids? And it's that heckling is not appropriate on any level, and especially at the highest level of government in this land. And from the days that I was in DC, we would argue with a different staffer about, not supporting your boss's energy bill, but it was civil and respectful, and you agreed to disagree. For the most part, I mean, it wasn't like it was a personal assault, and the movement of the concept that you can, on one of the world's biggest stage, openly heckle a president that is, trying to bring unity to the nation was really unfortunate. And I hope what I try to teach my children also is accountability. You have to be accountable for your actions. Your words and your actions define you. And right. That is a really big lesson to learn. And I think that time will tell with these two individuals. They made that choice, and who will see, we'll see what happens during the next election cycle. But what we have to do is constantly put the good energy forward, saying heckling is not appropriate, and your words and your actions define you. You've got to be able to stand behind what you do.
Correct.
Yes.
And think before you speak. Because once the words leave your mouth, there's no way to grab them and bring them back.
Right.
Okay.
I have a really good friend who his dad's advice to him is never miss an opportunity to be silent. Yeah, I like that a lot when it comes to family, but when it comes to politics, I don't agree with it as much because I think we need to speak out for what we believe is just and right. That is not the case for those hecklers last night, but I do sometimes with family stuff just stay quiet.
Yes. 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 Sometimes it's good to keep a tight lip.
Yep. Yep.
Good to keep a tight lip.
So I found this quote on this today too that was from the Hill Reporter that said, "Remember when the Republicans had a fit over President Barack Obama's tan suit, right?"
Yes. Right.
Back
So let's
out. This time, the target is Vice President Kamala Harris and the right daring to wear a brown suit to the State of the Union, and she had a Ukraine yellow ribbon on. So it's just the hypocrisy of the situation is
mind blowing. It's mind blowing. So let's add this. Okay. So here we have, you talked about it, deja vu. People are losing it over Vice President Kamala Harris's suit colors. And it says, remember when the Republicans had a fit? They had a fit when President Obama wore a tan suit. Okay, well, now they're back. And here are some of the Twitter comments, like, why is Kamala in a brown suit? Okay, Kamala Harris's stylist really saw that brown chair and she just was sitting in it. Yeah, brown suit is definitely going to make her look great. Kamala should have better color coordinate. You know what? I'm going to.
She's the Vice President of the United States. As far as I'm concerned, she's next in line if anything happens to our current president. And her job is to be present. And it's not a fashion contest when you're at the height of the political game in this country.
Correct.
Yes.
And so instead of thinking, so negatively, she got on a brown suit and in a brown chair. Look, they somehow or another, they thought about that before the event actually happened. People they plan these things out. Yes. Right. Yes. Now, the theme was supposed to be Ukraine. And that's why I guess Nancy Pelosi wore blue. But did you say the vice president had on a pin or something that represented?
She had on the yellow pin, yellow ribbon.
Correct. So yes. Now imagine if she had worn a yellow suit or a blue suit, they still would have had something to talk about. Why is she politicizing this whole situation with Ukraine by wearing their colors? And so, people, you have to understand, the vice president is a smart Black woman, and she knew what she was doing when she wore that brown suit. That's why
we're wearing brown today.
That's why we have on brown. Okay. And also, I started a hashtag. We started a hashtag on Twitter, which is hashtag wear brown, the number 4, Kamala. Wear brown, the number 4, Kamala. And on Friday, this Friday, we want you to either tweet it, retweet it, or wear brown. We are wearing brown today because that she is our feature and we are in support of her vice presidency.
Yes. And also since it's Women's History Month, I thought it was very interesting to kind of research the succession of our current president, and he's leading with women. So in order of his successive line, he has Vice President Kamala Harris. Then next is House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Next is Senator Patrick Leahy. And then next is Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. And then the 6th is Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. So there are 3 women and 3 men on that list, including the president. But so it's a first to see that many women in the succession line for the president of the United States. That was another good first to point out.
Right. Because, like you said, if something happens to Joe Biden, regardless of what you think about her choice of colors in her clothing, despite what you think about how she rose to power, despite what you think about her background, her family, her schooling, that she went to Spelman here in Atlanta, despite all of that, what you can't change is the fact that if Joe Biden croaks today, she becomes the president of the United States.
Yes.
And maybe that's hard to grasp for some people.
You go like, I don't think so. I don't know.
Oy vey. Oy vey. They just can't get with the program. So we want to talk about Miss Harris, and I'm going to do just a little background on her. And that is that she was born October the 20th, 1964, and she is an American politician and attorney who is the 49th and current Vice President of the United States. She is the first female Vice President and the highest ranking female official in U.S. history, as well as the first African American and first Asian American vice president. She's a member of the Democratic Party, and she served as the Attorney General of California from 2011 to 2017. Okay. Harris became vice president upon being inaugurated in January of 2021 alongside President Joe Biden. And that in itself, January 2021 is a month that none of us will ever forget.
No.
With
a lot got packed into that month.
Storming the Capitol. And however you want to slice that bread, we all saw it on television, live, right?
Yes.
All over the world it was viewed. Okay. She defeated serving with President Biden, having defeated, I got to say this, incumbent President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. Okay. Now, born in Oakland, California, Harris graduated from Howard University and the University of California, Hastings College of Law. Did you know that, Dana? The Hastings College of Law?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Okay. She began her career in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office before being recruited to the San Francisco District Attorney's Office. And she served as the junior U.S. Senator from California from 2017 to 2021. Okay. And so we honor Kamala Harris. There's more information about her background, her family, and where she came from and the struggles that she went through. Again, when you are determined, Dana, when you are determined and you have the type of family that supports you, then there's no limits, there's no bounds to what you can accomplish. Would you not agree?
Totally agree. I think determination and passion and tenacity. I love the word tenacity. And evolution are an exploration. I mean, she obviously, started in with going to law school, but then she found her path and found that politics was where she wanted to actually make change, and then got to be the second Black female senator. I mean, just a trailblazer. She just kept on going, and then to reach the White House with the president, to be the vice president, the first African American and Asian American vice president in our history, is a supreme accomplishment.
Yes, it is. And that's what we should focus on. Again, I had wanted a particular guest to come on tonight. And after she explained to me, her experience with some other women who spoke negatively of Kamala Harris, and she just couldn't find herself to continue to support that organization. And I too have had someone say something to me that was disparaging about Kamala Harris, and I had to pull their coattail on it and say, look here, you can say that when you're amongst your friends by yourself, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm a woman, I'm a Black woman, and the words that you use against Kamala Harris is offensive to me. Respect me for being what I am, and I support Kamala Harris. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, Dana, that I agree with everything she may have done in her rise, but who am I, to feel like she shouldn't be where she is? No, she's where she's supposed to be.
She earned it.
She earned it.
Yes.
She earned it. She earned it. Yes. And so we were very happy to be able to bring this particular episode of Trip of Change in celebration of National Women's History Month. And we've got some other episodes coming up where we will talk about women that we admire. We're going to talk about women in business. I've got a couple of them lined up. I got a good one out of Orlando, Florida. Okay.
Yay!
Yeah, Orlando, Florida. I see you. Right.
Great.
And also in support of our co-host and producer, we're going to talk about International Day of Forest. And yes, so you can highlight your goal to visit all these national parks and what that actually means as part of that trip of change.
Yes.
I had an opportunity to experience it with my good buddy. Okay, being up in the mountains in Death Valley. You think about Death Valley, you think about the stage coaches and the wagons going across the west, but no, it was a quite an experience. So we're going to talk to Dana about International Day of Forest, and then we're going to round out the month talking about arts and fashion and theater, things that are going on in the theaters. Okay, and so
an exciting month ahead.
Exciting month ahead. We're just getting started here. And to get in touch with either me or Dana, there's our contact information. We would love to hear from you about anything that we've already spoken on, get some of your comments. If you have any ideas or suggestions of things that we can focus on, there's our contact information. Shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Ain't that right, Dana?
That's right. That's right. And if you'd like to be on the show too, please send us an email and we'll get back to you.
We sure will. We sure will. And again, we encourage you to support our podcast. Go out to the website, tripofchange.com, and send us your email address, our Instagram, our YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel. And we would love to see you. Okay.
Yes.
What else we got?
We just have a big week ahead. Lots of fun things to research until we have more things to research. We're constantly trying to learn, constantly trying to be educated. We share sources back and forth all the time and make sure they're always accredited. We rely on established news news agencies rather than opinion pieces. So if there's anything that anybody would be interested in learning about, send us some ideas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. This was a good show.
It was a great show.
Yes.
Yes. We did it again.
We did it again. We did it again.
Yes.
We did it again. Yes.
Only went out a few times.
But you came back. You came back.
I was determined.
You were determined.
I think that's the thing of the day. Determined women.
Determined women. Yes. Tenacious.
Tenacious women.
Tenacious. Yes.
That's right. That's right. We did it.
We did it. All right, darling.
Well, great to see you virtually. And we will be talking soon.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Peace out.
Okay.